Well, we have some updates regarding those $2,000 tariff dividend checks. We also have some updates regarding potentially eliminating income tax entirely on the federal level. And President Trump has said some interesting things about tariffs. But I want to break all this down because as of this morning, there's some new reports that are coming out which are groundbreaking. These reports could completely change things here in the United States, meaning more relief for the American people. I want to explain exactly what's going on, how you are going to be impacted, and why the Trump administration may have found a way to make all of this work. And that's what's crazy because over the past week I said it's a very good chance we don't see $2,000 tariff dividends and an elimination of federal income taxes. The math just doesn't work. But based off what we're hearing this morning, the math may work, and this could be huge for millions of people. So, if you are waiting for a $2,000 tariff dividend check and you would benefit from an elimination of federal income taxes, go ahead, hit that like button, and now let's begin. So, this is what was promised. President Trump proposed $2,000 payments for the American people from tariff dividends. Now, a lot of people said that won't work because if we give 150 million Americans a $2,000 check, that's $300 billion. That right there is more, according to reports, than we've actually brought in. Now, here's the problem. The White House is continuing to say these are coming. President Trump says these are coming mid-2026. We are going to see $2,000 tariff rebate checks. But how can he be so certain that they are coming? Well, at this time, the White House is touting relief and says data shows prices are rising ahead of Thanksgiving, but they are saying relief is on the horizon. Again, how does the Trump administration see the relief? Understand, know that these tariff rebate checks are coming, and there's a possibility we can eliminate the federal income tax. Where's all this information coming from? Because that's not something that the American people have access to, obviously. Well, I want to play you a couple clips. This is what President Trump said just this past week. Okay, this was on November 27th. Okay, 3 days ago. Listen to this right here.
Because of tariffs, and we're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars like we've never done before. And some of that's going to go back in the form of a sort of dividend to our people, but much of it's going to go toward reducing debt. And what it really goes for, and even better than the money we're taking in, is the fact that nobody's attacking our companies and taking them out, stealing them like they've been for many years. Because if they do that, they have to pay a tariff as they make products and sell them into our country. So we made deals with Japan, we made deals with South Korea, we made deals with the European Union.
Keep in mind, he says we've made deals. Okay, they made deals. Let's keep listening to this, though. This is important.
Where they pay us hundreds of billions of dollars, and they participate. They're now building plants. Honda is building plants, and they're all, every car company from all over the world virtually is building plants now in the United States because they don't want to pay the tariffs.
Okay, that's good, right? That these countries and these companies are building plants here in the United States because they don't want to pay the tariffs. Okay, but how if those companies are now coming to the United States and they're building manufacturing plants and everything here, then essentially they're bringing more jobs. But President Trump is touting this as a tariff dividend check. So if we aren't going to get the dividend, or we're not going to get the tariff revenue because these companies are just producing right here in the United States, that eliminates that. And if he's also said tariffs are going to be so big that we will be eliminating the federal income tax. Okay? Let me play that clip for you. Listen to this right here.
Over the next couple of years, I think we'll substantially be cutting, and maybe cutting out completely, but we'll be cutting income tax. Could be almost completely cutting it because the money we're taking in is going to be so large.
Okay. Now I want to play you this little clip as well.
So there's never been anything quite like it. It's been amazing. So we're taking in, think of it, hundreds of billions. Next year it'll be $1 trillion or more. But we're taking in all this money, at the same time protecting our country. And we're respected again. They actually respect us. And they made the deals. I mean, they respect us, but they pay us, as an example, Japan, $650 billion. South Korea, $350 billion. European Union, $950 billion.
So Japan, $600 billion. European Union, $950 billion. How does he know those figures? This is what we're hearing as of this morning. Again, this is huge. It says, one report says, President Trump wants to see a full year of tariffs before he goes back and negotiates with countries. And I've said this before, that President Trump keeps negotiating with countries, but his negotiations are actually reducing the amount of tariffs we bring into the United States. Well, this is what they're saying. What we could see President Trump do is offer countries like China and Taiwan and Japan a deal. They may pay X amount of dollars, X billions of dollars per year, no matter how much we import into our country. This way, the United States guarantees the tariff revenue and companies aren't stressed about the uncertainty of the tariff amount. Here's where this could be massive. Let's say, and I'm going to give you some numbers here. These numbers are just made up in my head as of right now, but I'm trying to give you an example. Let's say for China, for instance. Let's say China, at the end of a full year of tariffs, so come April 2026, we see that, okay, the United States brought in, let's say, $1 trillion, okay? $1 trillion from China due to tariff revenue alone. $1 trillion. Guess what? We could go back to China and say, you know what? You paid us, or we had to increase our, prices, whatever, by $1 trillion. We brought in $1 trillion worth of tariff revenue just from your country. It was $1 trillion. 2026, we are projecting the same thing, if not a little bit more. But here's what we're going to do for you. If you bring in more than $1 trillion, okay, you only have to pay $1 trillion. That's all we want. Guaranteed, you're going to pay us $1 trillion. Even if we only import $500 billion worth of stuff, and that's all we'd get, $500 billion, you're still on the hook for $1 trillion. And he could go do that for Taiwan, Japan, the European Union. He can do that with every single country. He could go to every single country and say, you know what? This is what we brought in from your country last year. We brought in, $100 billion last year from your country alone. And again, these numbers are fabricated. But we brought in $100 billion from your country alone last year. What we're going to do is we're going to charge $125 billion this year. And it's going to go on for X amount of years. And that's how the Trump administration is going to bring in X amount of revenue. And they can guarantee that's how much revenue is coming in from those countries. We're just going to give them a flat fee that, okay, you want to sell in our country, this is what we are going to charge you. And you can sell everything. That right there will be huge. And here's the reason why. According to reports, the Trump administration realizes that they can't send a $2,000 tariff dividend check at the same time paying down hundreds of billion dollars in our national debt. They can't do those things simultaneously, and at the same time throwing in that we're going to try to eliminate the federal income tax. We can't do those three things all at the same time unless we find a way to reduce costs, okay, or increase our tariff revenue. Okay, here's where things get interesting. According to reports, the Trump administration is pushing very hard to pretty much end the war between Russia and Ukraine. Why? He wants to bring the cost of things like grain and oil down. Okay? Now, we're not buying oil from Russia. but other countries are. And as we have less oil, to go and purchase, it makes it a little bit more expensive. It's a supply and demand principle. The same thing goes for why President Trump really wants to get into Venezuela, really wants to open up this trade network, because right now we're doing nothing with Venezuela. If we can be a partner with Venezuela, then we can actually unlock those 300 billion barrels of oil that's beneath their surface. That right there would cause oil prices to substantially drop. If that happened, and this would be huge, it would lower the cost of everything because transportation and shipping would come down. That would be huge. So President Trump could say, you know what? We're going to increase tariffs on this country. We're going to increase tariffs on that country. And it's going to look bad for us here in the United States unless President Trump finds a way to lower the price of everything. Tariffs are going to increase it. Lowering the price of shipping actually brings everything down. Things like food, lumber, everything becomes less expensive. That's a good thing. So in the end, it could be looking like the exact same price, yet tariffs went up. The fuel cost came down, but yet this is the price of the product. It's still staying the same simply because we offset the increase with a decrease. And you're probably thinking, well, that is a lot. That means President Trump's trying to do a lot of stuff in a short amount of time. Yes, but like that report said, that President Trump is likely going to go back to countries, renegotiate with them, and offer them that kind of deal. Saying, hey, you paid us $50 billion in tariffs, okay? So what we're going to do this year is you just pay us $50 billion guaranteed. Doesn't matter if we import, $70 billion worth of inventory. That's fine. You're going to get a deal. But if we only import $35 billion, then obviously we get the better end of the stick, right? That's what's going to happen. Now, again, that's a report. I've only seen that discussed by a few different people, and it has been discussed in the past as well. But I think that's huge because many United States companies have already stated that they are extremely stressed simply because of the uncertainty around tariffs. They don't know, are they going to stay at the current amount, or is it going to fluctuate? That we just don't know at this time. But all that information, again, is huge because this could mean we're guaranteed a $2,000 tariff rebate check, and that could be a yearly thing. We are also potentially going to see an elimination of federal income taxes, which again would be huge. And I said, according to reports, that means it's going to be about a $14,000 savings on average. On average. For lower income households, it's going to be about an $800 per year savings. For middle income households, it's going to be about $10,000. And for the average U.S. household, it would be about $13,900 per year. So, again, another substantial savings. So, we'll see what happens over the next several months, but I thought that was interesting that this is what the Trump administration is looking at this time. So, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below, but that's what we know as of today. So, again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.